base here, where Meeple has landed.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Vitruvian Meeple's production of the Powers That Be Acclaim the Sky campaign. I am your host, Trevor, the Vitruvian Meeple, here as always with Patrick, ECAT, Matt, Julie, but this time, no Ray. No. Our illustrious leader and token responsible adult is off doing STEM bureaucracy stuff that we don't know and we don't care about. So let's see what interesting shenanigans the other four of us can get into while he's gone. That's right, welcome to issue 26, When the Cat's Away. And with that, I'm going to turn over to our GM, Patrick. Patrick, please take us back into the world of Excelsior.
So when last we left our illustrious heroes, you successfully diffused a potentially horrifying situation inside of your local coffee shop, which may have resulted in the destruction of your local coffee machine. That would just under no circumstances be acceptable. But winding back a little bit further, there's a unhandled thread dangling right now that a couple of our fine members of our team, being Jack Don Crash, went to visit a local businessman looking to enhance Jack Don's firepower. Unfortunately, he required cash because that's how such business individuals work. And are entirely, completely legitimate businesses, if anybody asks. So in order to acquire this very nice piece of hardware, I believe you guys have to come upon, I think it was $10,000. It's a pretty good price for it.
That sounds about right, yeah.
Weird piece of machinery.
For an alien artifact? Yeah.
So, given that, although sold without guarantees, of course, there's no instruction book that's written in any language humans speak. So, you have to raise 10 grand somehow. And how that's going to be, well, I don't know. I'm going to leave it up to all y'all to figure out what you want to do. So we start off in the morning. You guys get your coffee, head back and make your way down, see what's going on, see your computer, all that. And on the conference desk is a note from Gene, which states that he got called to DC in the middle of the night, rather urgently, and so he will be gone for the next day or so. He's not quite sure. And the last thing he says, please don't get into any trouble.
Oh, see, now, Crash just takes that as a challenge.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, let's see. Do I still have any contacts in the criminal world that I can like try to shake down for a good upcoming heist opportunity? Because
you do indeed still know some people in the criminal underworld. You also happen to know a ranking member in the local police force.
Yes, I do. But going to a police captain and asking for sites that would be easy to rob seems a little gauche even for Crash.
Sure.
So I'm gonna start by contacting Hellbender and asking if he knows of any prime spots that happen to be opening up in the near future.
All right. So you head upstairs, across the lobby into the bar, and then through the bar's back room into the Hellbender Club. So you manage to, contain your queasiness at the semi-spaghettification that happens during your dimensional transit from one place to another. Something interestingly that nobody that has been transported around by Erebus has ever complained of. So that's one thing he has going for him, and probably why he's able to attract other people to work with him. So you can imagine the entire team teleporting and then getting nauseous would probably be unpopular. So you go there. It's early. Most of the patrons who are there have been there since the night before and are sleeping it off and or still working on trying to achieve a good buzz. Some people are more difficult to get drunk than others. And of course, Hellbender's there, manning the bar,
Wiping
throwing
down the
off some
bar in the
glasses.
most cliched of images.
Yes. So what'll it be?
Information.
Oh.
This whole goody two shoes image that I seem to be cultivating is starting to chafe a little bit, and my compatriots and I find ourselves in need of a large infusion of cash. You wouldn't happen to know of any hotspots that might be lacking in security, would you?
How large are we talking?
15,000, 20 would be better. Still relatively small change, but we're not looking to knock over a casino or something. But we're also not going to, rob the local First Bank of Excelsior.
Avoid the casinos. They tend to hire scions to keep other scions out because they're a very bad group of people to allow into a casino.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And they can generally spot y'all, and that would be bad.
Yeah.
So let's see. Well, so how legitimate do you want this money to end up being? Are you thinking like trying to?
Sorry. Oh no, this would just be classic. Do you happen to know an arms dealer named Dimitri?
Oh yes, I do.
If we could steal something from one of his operations, that would just be poetic. If not, that's fine. I still like to be a bit of an artist.
Part of what some may colloquially call the Russian mob. And indeed, they do have many operations going on. So, yeah, that could be arranged for. Let's see. The big question I would have, then you don't necessarily want to like change up costumes and go just like knock off a bank or a jewelry store or anything. You'd like to do something that steals some money that's already been stolen, and thus it's a little, you're kind of cleaning it up instead of
absolutely
sullying it.
The fact that
how
we're
you've
giving them
changed
up for being a better villain than I am is completely beside the point. Sorry, a better criminal or a better criminal than I am. I'm not a villain.
It doesn't say so on your card, so no.
Well,
and here I thought we were going to try and steal from the Circus King.
I mean, you could, but then you might have to deal with the Circus King. And if nothing else, you might have to deal with mimes.
Yeah, been there, done that. Just saying that the current price of rhodium is running about $164 per gram. So a 1 pound ingot of that is about, I don't know, a bit north of $74,000.
That is an option, indeed. Yes. Last you saw the bag with the rare metals was in a safe inside of a trailer office on Rikers Island. Not in the middle of the circus, not in the middle of the base. Possibly doable, so that's an option. So in terms of the taking on the Russian mob, Hellbender thinks for a minute. Like, okay, so the best choices that you would have is the way that they've structured their organization. They kind of break it up based on the type of criminality that they're engaged in. So their drug people stay away from their sex trafficking people because you just don't want those two things getting together. And so arms dealing happens in one place and forging in another. So what you could look at is they do have front businesses that launder money for each of these interests. So you might be able to hit the front business for the sex traffickers and see how much cash they have sitting around. And all of these are, of course, cash-heavy businesses, so the cash has to process through somewhere. You also could go after the processing plant for some of the illicit substances that they use. They also tend to have a good amount around to pay the people who are delivering components for them, because you don't want a good trail as to how many little red pills you have to collect in a big barrel in order to make enough rock to sell. So I guess their plan is, since the government came up with this genius thing, you can only buy so many little red pills at once, so they just send out tons of people to every pharmacy to go buy them by the box and pay them cash.
Funny thing about that, they don't actually do that. The big operations don't actually do that.
No. In reality, they don't. This is cartoon reality, and therefore the mobsters have to be a little stupid. If they were smart mobsters, right, they wouldn't make good villains.
Right.
In reality, the drug lobbyists managed to stop any FDA curtailing on precursor chemicals. So in reality, yes, they just get a business license and buy the precursors in bulk from,
buy a barrel of the precursors, probably not in pill form. It's probably the active ingredients in a jar, so they don't have to do the extra stuff to extract it. Were I to do that, that's how I would go about it. If I wanted to, build a lab underneath the in the sewer system in front of the local Walmart, which happened. That was fun.
Yeah. Well, this is why, you shouldn't sample the product that you're producing.
Yep.
Yes. So you have some options for places to go with the various mobs. There are other mobs, of course. You can go after the ones that are in Chinatown, for instance. Make sure you wear something vaguely cleaver proof. They're rather famous for using that. There's all sorts of illegitimate businesses that you could go after. You can listen to the radios for a robbery or a heist going on and defeat them as heroes do. Just take the money afterwards.
Would hardly be the first time Crash did that.
Indeed.
Or actual police. Never mind. I didn't say that.
Just sprinkle the people with some, sparkly drug crystals, and nobody will believe a thing they say.
Yep. Why does this guy smell like burning styrofoam?
So do we have, I would assume we have some kind of police scanner or something
Oh boy, do you?
Yeah.
How else are you going to figure out
Yeah.
what's going on when you're on patrol?
Yeah.
You know, there's
Teletraan
only so
fire.
many of you guys per square mile in the city, and you all have a fairly large neighborhood at that. So yeah, so those are currently, you know, the main options you have. So you can tag a facility for one of the gangs, especially the Russian mob, if you wish to, you know, steal from Peter to pay for Paul, as far as the Russian mob goes, in order to acquire the item. Therefore, they net a zero profit, actually, probably less. You can try to go after any criminals that might be active at the time. And of course, you could always just turn to outright criminality yourselves. Just make sure you don't wear your hero outfits while you do it, or people might be asking questions.
Right. Well, I mean, certainly the poetic nature of stealing from the Circus King is appealing to me.
I do kind of
Going after, sorry, go on.
I do kind of like the poetry of stealing from the Russian mob only to pay them for it.
Well, I was going to say in a pragmatic way, you know, not shitting where you eat is probably a good idea. And then the whole sex trafficking thing got brought up, and suddenly I was okay with it. So,
Yes, mobsters are indeed involved in terrible types of crime, of course, and in this world as any. Although you also note, though, that the Circus King has been raking in cash with people visiting his place by the thousands. The amount he's making on carnival games alone has to be ridiculous.
Well, since he can control them to just keep playing.
yikes.
I must win the giant banana.
It's worse than Vegas. I mean, that's part of the problem with, you know, supervillains is they don't have any practicality. He'd just open a casino and he'd rake it in, but now it's got to be world domination. And
Yep, like the thing with Dr. Evil's organization opening Starbucks, and then they're just making more money than they ever did being an international crime organization.
Exactly. It's not that crime doesn't pay. White collar crime pays, but
all right.
So, I mean, yeah.
So I'm gonna.
So our big.
Good.
Go ahead. Sorry, we're just gonna talk over each other
all night.
All night.
So I'm going to suggest that we take some of these ideas back to the old conference room and ask Ice and Paw for their opinions.
Yeah.
Because that would be nice.
Yes. What? Include the rest of the team on the plans?
What?
Shocking. And see.
Yep.
So you make your way back down to the bar, and then, you know, across the lobby, back down the secret elevator, into your conference room.
Interstitial scene of Jackdaw and Crash in the elevator. Synchronized head bopping to the music.
So who picked the music that plays in the elevator?
Probably Gene, I would imagine.
Tink.
You said Tink?
She may have just said it to whatever she wants on her own without asking anybody.
Yeah.
Because who's going to stop her and who's going to figure out how to fix it?
Right. All right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's get everyone into the conference room and what do we think?
All right, huddle up, folks.
Hopefully, ECAT unfreeze at some point.
Yep. Let's spin the wheel of criminality.
Okay, so you have go after the Circus King, go after the metal that Circus King paid Erebus with, attack the Russian mob, wait for some heist to go on around you, interfere with it, and take the money, or execute a heist yourself.
Well, the last option is pretty much what we're doing with any of the other options. It's just kind of meta heist.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's not like going into a bank and just robbing it, because that is its own thing.
Yeah.
Let's not do that. I mean, emptying Simon Sawyer's Bitcoin wallet has a certain appeal to it too, but man, cryptocurrency has taken a nosedive, so it's not really worth anything. So, Pa,
Ice.
Yes.
Thoughts.
Yeah.
thoughts? Ice.
Well, let's first see. Do you?
Okay.
We heard you for a second there, and then you cut out again.
All right. I'll be back.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, not your fault.
Yay, technology issues.
Right.
Okay.
Hooray!
I mean, the question is, do we go with stealth or force? I mean, really, we need to decide.
I think we can. I think we would have a better shot with starting with stealth and understanding
Yeah.
that at some point we will foible something and it will turn into force anyway.
Okay.
But stealth to start with is always
Yeah.
probably the better option.
I think I
Yes.
go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
I'm liking the idea of snagging the rhodium. That serves multiple of our purposes at the same
Yep.
time. Fortunately, we'd have to figure out some
we're
way
gonna have to.
sell it.
Well, I mean, that also could be Dimitri's problem too.
That's true.
We just go in and plunk it down in front of him and go, okay, what is this going to get me? I mean, we're going to have to deal with the Circus King no matter what.
Yeah.
Is my thought.
Sure.
All right.
I mean, I'm not opposed to knocking over a sex trafficking operation either.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's the kind of people that gives criminals a bad name.
Quite.
That one actually got us in less, what the fuck did you do, with Gene?
Well, both are.
All right, I say we take the sex trafficking as plan A. And if that goes south, then we look at getting back into that trailer. A few things in there I wanted to look at anyway.
Okay, so you want...
That's my suggestion. I'm
Okay. Yeah, I figure y'all should probably have a vote or something.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying this.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm here on my phone. With my computer,
Oh, dear.
which means, of course, I can't get it to use my camera for some reason. I don't know what y'all said, but I vote for going after the Russian mob, just making sure they don't mark their bills.
Yeah,
So that
what-
it's not theirs.
yeah, what we had kind of settled on, pending people's actual agreement, was first opportunity was going to be going after the sex traffickers, because that's the kind of people that give criminals a bad name. And if that somehow doesn't pan out, then we break back into the trailer where the heavy metals were.
Okay.
Paul, what do you think about that?
That works for me.
Excellent. Let's do it.
Okay.
We are off.
Okay, so what have we selected?
We have selected the sex traffickers for 500 Alex.
Okay.
Actually, hopefully for 20,000, but you know. Yes, I'm aware that Dimitri only wanted 10.
Yes.
Having
Just-
extra for later is always a good thing.
Right?
Just waiting for, the number to double again later in the episode, that's all. We just need 40,000.
Right? Do not take my pocket money.
Yeah, it's 80,000. Small change, really.
So will Gene notice when you start like having a lot more money than usual?
Well,
Gene comes back from vacation. All of us are like blinged out, just sitting at the conference table.
no, the conference table has been replaced with a hot tub.
Yes.
There's a Beamer parked next to the Humvee.
Yep.
Okay. So let's go find our. I already indeed have everybody's favorite mega corporations map program. So let's bring it over into your neck of the woods. Here we go. And I assume you will take preference to places that are, of course, in your neighborhood and not anybody else's.
Well, it would get really embarrassing if the statesmen showed up to foil the criminality.
Don't give the DM any ideas. Just remember, he's not
Patrick.
exceptionally happy with people right now.
I know you're always mining our table chatter for ideas, so
That is true. Yeah. Well, it's like the rules for how to have a mastermind NPC is you just take advantage of the fact that DM knows what's going on. And so the mastermind knows what the DM knows. That's how that whole character archetype functions.
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Okay, so it turns out, as you do some research, there is a location that they have near the airport, wherein they, because this is, the 21st century, and have to bring people in container ships as necessary. But quite often they just fly people in, put them in a car, steal their passport, and then put them to work. So fortunately, LaGuardia Airport happens to be part of your territory. It's right at the edge of it. Everything, the neighborhood just south of it, Elmhurst is, of course, somebody else's area, but that's yours. You get Ditmar Steinway. Anstiora Heights, a little bit contested with another group, but nobody's going to argue with you because the highway goes right in between. So at the edge of that area is a location fairly close to the airport's main terminal. And if you happen to have a sticker on your car saying that you're an official airport employee, it is right near the entrance. So they could take somebody out of cargo, put them into a car and drive it just a few precious blocks away to a nice house that they have set up for trafficking people. You're fairly certain this is not where the main money exchange happens, but this is where you will find people who work in that part of the organization. So the question is, are you going to stop and pay them a visit still, fairly early in the morning? You've gotten up, you've had your coffee and stuff. So knowing the hours that your folks keep, it's probably around noon at this point. That you just finished breakfast and everybody else is getting ready for lunch.
So unfortunately, we have both the best chance of success and the best chance of opposition at night.
Indeed.
Unless we want to do just some surveillance. Basically sit at the airport until someone else shady comes in.
Okay. Let me see. Pardon me while I attempt to, There we go. Satellite view. That's what I want. Okay, so
So the place in question is on 19th Road, right near the exit to LaGuardia. Not to be confused with 19th Avenue or 19th Drive, which are all right on top of each other in the same area for reasons, because why number things when you can, just give them all the same number?
Yeah.
okay, I am not able to find that. I'm working on it. It's the 19th.
Yes.
I am not finding 19th.
Here. There's some coordinates.
Oh, that does not help.
Just to the west of you should be able to open them in Google, I believe. You put them into the into maps. So it is the road that the avenue is the road. If you look at the
okay,
northwestern side of the airport.
Okay, that's why I was having issues. I was looking at the complete opposite end.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So it's attached to the sub-terminal on the other side of the airport.
Yeah.
Where, once again, cargo and trafficked people will end up in my world. You don't want to pay full rate.
Yeah, unfortunately, that side does not have.
Looks to
The
be
reason I was looking at the other side actually has hotels that I could actually go up on the roof and actually get a good view of from.
Yeah, literally down the block is the Elmjack Little League. That's not skeevy at all.
Although the nice thing is that from that Little League location, you can also monitor the bridge going over to Rikers Island.
Yes, we can.
Hey kids, you want to learn how to surveil some scumbags?
Let's see, there's not a terribly tall building, but there's a police supply store right around the corner. I don't know what you buy at a police supply store, but that just makes it funnier.
Actually, you know what?
Trafficking down just down the street.
Screw it.
GPS College of Swords. Need a tank College of Valor. Want to make?
I am going because I'm assuming that there's even though it's not, I'm assuming there's probably fencing hidden by the trees. I'm actually going to do a hop, skip, and a jump up and over and go sit on top of the Delta Cargo building so that I can get a closer, better view of the parking lot and the road and to the one. All
right, that works.
Again.
One of the nice things about being a hero, of course, is jumping on and off of an airport terminal and not land you in the pokey for long periods of time. Because you can get away with it just about anything. All right, so you've taken up position on the Delta Cargo building to surveil the comings and goings.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to set up surveillance in the area?
Sure, I will actually, staying invisible because I can do that. I'm gonna just like monitor the doors in the employee section of the parking lot.
All right.
So basically, up in that northern section next to the water. Okay.
Or are you talking about the rental car areas just to the south of the terminal there?
There's the employee parking that's currently for Republic Airways. There's a lot of parking around there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's the LGA prepaid economy parking.
Yes. As opposed to the off-site discount parking,
yep,
which is to the west of the Elm Jack Little League. Actually, Trevor, if you go up to the employee parking up north of the police building and with me up here, that would give that lower section of the car rental places and the other drives in and off of the runway drive and all of that to Ice and Jack to use various and sundry surveillance, since that's where actually the bulk of the actual traffic is going to be. So having a pair of eyes in that with said a higher traffic zone might work.
sure.
Yeah. We can take the not as conspicuous vehicle and sort of orbit around. Jesus, why does there have to be creepy clowns? Sorry. No, there's literally a rent-a-clown thing a couple blocks over from the terminal. I'm not making this up. It's like, oh, there's a Spanish name here. Click. Oh God.
No, there's also a pizza place though, so
yeah, there's a pizza place, there's a dental office. You're so helpful, Kat.
So, yes, we all get to our individual stakeouts.
All right. So you get to your stakeout locations and are waiting for somebody to be trafficked in, or maybe several people with luck. And of course, since this is the comics, you're not going to have a whole issue of a bunch of people sitting on a stakeout accomplishing nothing, because that would be absolutely silly.
Right.
So you're hanging out there for a while, of course, and watching the traffic go by and all sorts of fun. And then, interestingly enough, from one of the neighboring houses pulls in a rather suspicious looking van. It is a standard passenger van with very darkly tinted windows. Pulls up to the regional airport terminal.
Is it white?
Indeed, it is the most generic looking white van with tinted windows that you have run into. This is the type of thing like church groups might get to, shuttle people around to various things.
So
And
like
of course,
basically a commercial van that hasn't actually had any sort of
logos, decals, or anything else.
and
like
other
that.
such put onto it.
Yeah,
Even
some
the
sort
little
of-
even the little logo of the manufacturer on the front just says car.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the license plates don't match from back, but most people don't notice that because you only see it come in one direction.
Yeah. And they're kind of dirty anyway.
So it pulls up to the regional airport terminal because why would you want to do the one with all the security in it, right?
Right.
And the doors open and a group of people are shuffled into the van and the doors close. Ka-plunk. The person who closes the door gets into the passenger seat in the front of the van, and the van takes off at what can only be described as slightly too fast for any ordinary person driving around an airport, because the tires somehow squeal. Even though, you can only go so fast before you run into something or have to deal with the nice curvy roads that they put in to keep you from speeding.
Right. Because
So
why be inconspicuous?
right. So whose stakeout territory was that in?
That Pa is able to see that from the roof of the Delta cargo hold.
Okay.
So you're able to watch that through your binoculars, and you see them get on the road, and they start cruising around Bowery Road, and they make the turn off past the big chemical tanks from the looks of it. Those don't look, weird at all.
Okay, so going through and exiting out to the west.
Yes.
Okay.
And thus heading towards the others who are in a couple spots throughout the neighborhood. So it exits off, gets on to 19th Avenue, and does something mildly peculiar, although this makes sense if you think about it, is that they drive around the neighborhood for a while. So some lefts and some rights, and pull into a parking lot and stop there for a few minutes, and then start going again.
So can I assume that Paul had? I assume you've clued us into what you saw.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am using the comms and letting you guys know.
I can pursue because they won't be able to see me, and I can certainly keep up with a van no matter how fast it drives.
Especially in a residential area in New York. Traffic only goes so fast.
Yep. So I am on their tail, not however up it.
Okay.
Just in case one of them has like incredibly sharp vision, or even worse, like superpower enhanced vision.
That would be a bummer, wouldn't it?
It would, wouldn't it?
I wish I had thought about that. Let's have you roll. And okay, hang on a second here.
I've got the little video and sound of little video all queued up. If you would just want to say the magic words.
Dun dun dun. And I figured Ice and I would relocate somewhere discreet but nearby since we're in a vehicle.
Like in front of the Little League Park.
Yeah. Or there's the Wilson Park, which is a little bit farther back, but apparently has parking. Well, the Little League Park has parking too, so never mind. We can pretend to be soccer parents. Or Little League parents, sorry.
Okay. Let's see. What skill would we use for crash tailing a vehicle?
Are they going at a speed that I would have to work to keep up with?
Not necessarily, but just in case you're having an extraordinarily bad day and they do manage to lose you by driving ziggy-zaggy throughout the neighborhood.
Is this a perception thing or more of a stealth?
Yeah, I that's what I'm trying, because the stealth thing is whether or not he, gets caught, which would probably in his case be getting hit by a car when he's not paying attention, running behind another car.
Right.
But I think that's less the problem in this case, as just kind of losing them. So how about you do a perception check, target 4?
Okay. So I am going to use my ability called Mind for Might, which allows me to use points from my might pool instead of my intellect pool for any intellect-based roll. And with my might edge of 4, because I can do that. Okay, so you said difficulty of 4?
Yes.
Okay. I will put 2 levels of effort because it'll cost me 1 point. And there we go.
Nice.
All right. So you manage not to lose them at all. And they wind their way through the neighborhood till they end up on a house because I just delight in the fact that there are 3 roads with exactly the same name.
Yeah.
That one's a road, one's a drive, one's an avenue, because screw us, that's why. And pulls up to a house on 19th Drive. Straight up into the driveway. They hit a clicker, the garage door opens up, and they pull inside. You now have the location of probably where they just do incoming people, soften them up for the rough, however many years they're about to have.
Excuse me. So I'm going to be right back.
Okay, so we have the, location of at least the say beginning level thugs that we can then take in or John Wick our way up the food chain.
So I'm going to give the address over the comms, and then I'm going to sneak in while the garage door's open.
Okay. So as the garage door starts sliding shut, it's not a gigantic garage, so you don't have a huge number of locations you can go into, although underneath or on top of the vehicle are always a choice. Or you could just kind of squeeze yourself against the garage door such that it doesn't hit you when it comes down, and then you're just in that back space. They don't have enough room to open up the back of the van, which is good.
Yeah, I'll just be behind the van.
Okay. So a couple other people are inside of the house, tough looking, Russian mobster types. I can't figure out what the standard outfit of a Russian mobster would be that differentiates them from all the other mobsters, but they're definitely dressed like that because, once again, we're in the comics.
A lot of Adidas tracksuits.
Oh, tracksuits, yes, right? That works.
Tracksuit mafia.
Tracksuit and all with a bottle of vodka in their hand.
Yep.
Because stereotypes are a thing.
Well, Gopniks are a thing too. Half of them are probably squatting for no reason.
So
have a bag of Saminsky, just sitting there eating sunflower seeds.
So they open up the van and start shuffling out a half dozen young women who are
Okay.
then roughly pushed throughout the rest of the house.
All in one group, or are they separated?
All in one group. They
Oh,
are all being shoved into the basement.
I am following them.
Okay. So the rest of the team does not take you long to get to this location. Given that, I think the slowest of you is traveling on a skateboard.
Now,
And that's not too slow.
assume she's in the van with me.
If he's driving, I'm with him.
Okay, so where are you going to park the van? Like right in their driveway so they can't get out, or?
Sure. And can we have the foresight to have like slapped a decal of a fake plumbing service or something on the side of our car?
Sure. You have a magnetic plumbing sign that you can slap on the side.
And the jumpsuits from the last time we did a stakeout.
I was assuming that we have like a tote or a locker or something with the various and sundry things that we would actually need for, like extra signs, jumpsuit, basically costumey bits for
Costuming is very important.
Clipboards are important to sell the whole thing.
Okay. So the three of you prepare yourselves in the back of the van as plumbers. This should be fun. Okay, so you're all set.
We look like plumbers.
Oh, really? Here, put this big fake mustache on and speak in the most stereotypical Italian accent. Never mind. Told you shit was going to get weird tonight. Yes. Mamma mia.
Okay, so you hop out of the van, carrying
it's all we do.
Your necessary props, which is set of coveralls and a clipboard. That's usually how you start everything.
Yep.
And so you're just going to go up to the front door?
Well, I figured we'd wait for a bit until Crash, lets us know what's going on instead of ruining his let's check out the basement thing.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that are our comms at the point where we can sub-vocalize?
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yes, we covered that before.
Yep. Then I am basically keeping them apprised of the situation as I go.
Okay, so they push the women into the basement where they have set up the more or less cage doors throughout, and shove them all into one of them after taking their purses and their shoes, because they don't want to get beaten up by anybody who may have been wearing heels at the time. They shove them in there, sort of close it, and start yelling at the girls in Russian. They're all looking terribly distressed.
Do I have the ability to basically pipe that through the comms?
Yeah.
Okay. I will do that.
All right, so what's the chance that Jack knows how to speak Russian?
Pretty good, I would imagine. Matt can swear a little bit in Russian, but I imagine that, it's one of the important languages to have when you're a international gun for hire. So,
Indeed, that is true. Okay, so you're listening to them talk, and the general rigmarole is they are trying to beat the girls down into the as one does early in such a relationship, into thinking that they are utterly dependent upon these people, and are being explained to them that what they are going to be doing now, and there's no way for them to go back. And even if they tried to go to the police, they would just get shot because how horrible this country is. And then the conversation takes a darker turn, talking about what immediate treatment they're going to receive from the group of guys inside of the house.
Hey. Okay, so are we ready to bust up this party?
Sure.
Okay. Yep. So, ring the doorbell.
Okay, so Crash, you're in the basement. One of the guys is starting to undo his pants, and then the doorbell rings upstairs. And they all look at each other like, who called for pizza? And they have a bit of an argument amongst themselves, and eventually one of the people is sent upstairs to go see what the heck is going on. He seems to be one of the younger people in the crew. And then the others go back to trying to, select out who they are going to terrorize first.
He drew the short slong.
So,
well, that's an image I didn't need.
So a guy opens the door and in a very thick accent asks what the fuck you guys want.
Yeah, it's Sal's Plumbing. Somebody called us in. I guess the shitter's clogged.
He stops, looks back. That's very possible. Could you come back later?
This is, we're paid hourly. There's a extra $300 return fee if we have to come back. Hey man, it's your deposit. So
okay, so since you have a inability at pleasant social interactions, you can take this one of two ways. You can try to sweet talk him to have him let you into the house, or you can try to intimidate him. That statement that you just had could go either way. So you can pick either one.
I am trained in deceiving, so.
Oh, deception as well. Okay,
yes.
Well, it's going to be a target 4 to persuade this individual to let you into the house without beating him up in front of everybody else.
While he's doing that, I want to go into the kitchen. If there is any pizza there, I want to have the box and the slice of pizza, and I'm totally doing the Wade Wilson thing from the very beginning of Deadpool. If it looks like he's going to screw it up, I basically make myself visible as like, I called them.
Excellent.
Okay, are you going to also find a cat box and poop in it too, or?
I mean, we're tempting. But...
Okay. Hey.
All right. So you have spun a plausible enough lie that this guy's like, yeah, we just got 6 more people into this house. So the plumbing's gonna all right, yeah.
You don't want that backing.
That's how we do it. On the farm.
So he leads you into the house towards the bathroom.
That's how we do it. I did it.
Okay.
As you walk by, you see a pizza box adjusting itself inside of the kitchen.
We taking over the game. We taking over the game.
And so he walked you into the bathroom, right up to the toilet, which is just an ordinary toilet that does not seem to be experiencing any distress that you were able to tell. It is not a terribly clean place, by the way, because none of these people have ever thought maybe we should clean our own environment.
Nope. Are Ice and Paul with me, or?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I followed right behind.
Okay, I'm sort of giving Paul the. You want to do the honors, or?
Yeah.
So what are you going to do to this unfortunate gangster?
Well, there is a unclean toilet right there.
Yeah, actually, I am going to It's like, come in, and I do grab the plunger, even though I don't normally use weapons and stuff, because I'm not actually going to hit him with
That's
it.
how we do it in the 9.
But I grab the plunger, it's like, see,
how
and
we
I
do it in
start
the
the
bush.
plunge. And the problem is, and I start just probably go, like I'm mixing, a whole bunch of Spanish and figuring he probably doesn't speak Spanish. And basically, and this is what your problem is, let go of the plunger, leave it in the toilet, grab his head, and crack it down on the edge of the toilet rim.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
That's major head trauma.
That's how we do it.
Let's see.
That's how we do it in
Well, we might as well have you roll an attack because of being an unarmed attack. This will be fun. So, his defense being a average kind of goon, likewise with most of their other stats will be a 4. So target 4, unarmed attack, and see how horribly you can traumatize this poor individual who just wants to carry on his day job of trafficking women and forcing them into a life of sex slavery. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Double checking.
Boy has to eat.
You eat,
And
then
you're
you
eating his
poop.
pizza.
Gonna use a level of effort these attacks and a level of effort for extra damage. Just because.
Nice.
Oh, dear
Nice.
God.
Woo!
So,
also, you get the points back.
yep.
Yeah.
So the question is, would you like to do extra damage to this individual's cranium, or would you like to have an extra effect happen?
Oh, I want extra damage. Because I want this fucker out, and if he does actually survive this, I want him to seriously rethink his life choices.
Remember, we need to interrogate at least one of them.
That is a good thing to know, because Paul leans over and says, "Oh, you see, there's your problem right there." Reaches back, grabs the guy by the back of the head, smashes his face into the rim of the toilet, which turns out to have been made of far sturdier stuff than most other toilets, and his head pops like a zip.
Oops.
Just, bam!
Okay,
And
how
so
many more? How many? I look up. How many more are left in the building?
How many?
There
How
are
many did I
5.
tail in?
There are 5.
Okay.
There were 2 in the van and 4 in the house.
Okay.
So we're
One
we
per victim.
we have 5 left. Okay, I will back off on the damage quotient.
And
My bad.
the other five that are left are in the basement, correct?
Yes, they are all in the basement.
So
But
these
to-
idiots left no guard upstairs.
Indeed.
All right.
Well, they thought that their clever job of driving around the neighborhood for 10 minutes made sure that nobody would find out where they were. It's worked so far.
All right. While you guys go deal with the basement, I'm going to start looting the house. I got my backpack. I'm going to start looting the house.
Crash is being
Okay.
overcome by like an actual attack of morals somehow. So he's going. Once I see that these guys have the situation far too well in hand, I suppose he's going to go back downstairs, and if the other criminals look like they're actually getting close to doing anything to any of the people in question, they're going to have bad days.
Okay.
Just looking impressed at this guy who had his face impaled on a plunger handle. Just
You take note, by the way, of the blood spatter pattern for future reference as to what it looks like when somebody's face is crushed on the side of a toilet, because it's different than you usually see. This is quite impressive. And in fact, some of it's even on you. You're like, damn.
Yeah.
Useful for future investigations.
yes.
So, as the two of you head towards
You
the
done
basement door,
goofed.
which has swung back open, and you have a very good idea as to why. You are hearing some hoopla going on, whereas several of the guys are shouting encouragement, and you hear the cage door open and close. When you hit the bottom of the stairs, you see one of the gentlemen has grabbed one of the women, has torn her shirt, pulling her out, and he is about to punch her.
Nope.
So he swings, and you catch it. He is very confused. So his hand is moving. So he's still holding her, but he's kind of rotating, kind of like, trying to recock his fist because, like, what the heck is pushing on my. But he's still keeping a hold of her because he doesn't want her to run away, because that's job number one. Whew. All
I
right.
just realized that I had my microphone on mute. So yes, for those of you playing at home and couldn't hear what I was doing, I just took I have one hand holding the guy's fist, pushing it back, and I just took the other hand and grabbed his jaw.
Good old Glasgow handshake. All right.
He becomes very light upon his feet as he pushes himself up to try to resist the force that is constricting him. He now drops the girl and squeaks in a very unusual fashion.
So I will squeeze, not enough to do permanent damage, but to communicate the idea that I certainly could if I wanted. I'm going to pull him by his nads down to the ground, lean down and hear and say this so that only he can hear it. Now you sit there and you think about what you've done.
So the other two hit the bottom of the stairs, traveling, I imagine, in a fairly stealthy fashion, so as not just to clump on down the stairs.
Yeah.
As well. One of you's a cat. Yeah, cat. So stalk your way down the stairs with Jack on tow, who is probably out pulling out his pistol, like.
Now, sort of deciding between pistol or taser at the moment.
One of the the scene that you see is currently one of the girls has backed up against the cage that the other ones are in, kind of terrified.
I just knew you would.
One of the men whose track pants are around his ankles is huddled on the floor, whimpering, doing that, "Oh God, please don't hurt me" kind of hand gestures. The other four men are looking at him, trying to figure out what's going on, and inquiring, of course, like, "Oh, what is this about? You have torsion or something?"
So, gentlemen, it looks like
none of whom are, by the way, paying the slightest bit of attention to the two people who just walked into the room behind them.
So I look at Jack. I'll take the two on the left. You take the two on the right.
nods. Any of them have their pants down besides the guy on the ground?
No, just the one. They are professionals, so they were going to take turns instead of trying to do everything all at once. That doesn't work out. They've learned that in the past.
Perfect. Okay, right. Okay. So I'm just gonna tase one of them.
All right. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think we need to pull up the battle map for this, especially because it's a little difficult for one of us right now. Who is currently rummaging through the house upstairs. Who you hear her, by the way, just kind of cruising around, like pulling out drawers, knocking stuff over.
Yeah.
with all the grace of a cat burglar who's, doesn't care if anybody hears her.
Yeah, big goth boots.
I do have stealth, but I'm not being stealthy. I'm just being stealthy.
Right.
So, okay. Fortunately, these ghouls are, not very sturdy people. So roll an attack with your taser. Target 4. Because, of course, you've all gotten the total jump on these individuals who are still wondering what the heck is going on with their, friend Gregor over here.
Okay. Glad I put in the level of effort there.
Yep.
It hits.
Well, no,
All right.
So the final difficulty was 1. Because you put in a level of effort and then it's eased by 2 additional steps.
Okay.
So you tase this person like right in the back of the skull, and he just drops because, of course, you don't have an ordinary taser. You have a superhero taser that you've taken care of and made sure that you put enough capacitance into it, enough voltage step that it will do the job correctly. So he drops to the ground, having a delightful seizure. He will come out of it at some point, you're sure. And because of how seizures work, he will no longer experience depression if he happens to survive this.
So either way, he will no longer experience depression.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to try to line myself up so that I can try to take down 2 at once by basically jumping on one and knocking him into the next.
All right. To get the second attacker, let's move it up to a target 5. And yeah, see if you can bonk their heads together.
Yes.
Ooh. All right. So, indeed, you leap up, grab the one, kind of, hook onto him, pull your feet up, and kick off of him. He ricochets against one of the other guys, and both of them fly into one of the cages. Boom. Busting the door and landing in a heap on the floor.
Good.
So this leaves one mobster left, who's not in the middle of having his nuts crushed or fighting the other 2. So, Crash.
Yeah.
So you hear some commotion behind you and turn to see one person, dancing a jig on the floor sideways, and 2 others have smashed into one of the cages.
So Papa learned a new trick. I'm going to use walk through walls, which allows me basically to phase through 1 inch of something per round, just enough to get through his pants, grab his underwear, and yank him backwards in a huge wedgie.
So, an ultimate atomic wedgie.
Yes, without moving the pants.
So while still maintaining your grip on the other one, I assume. Or do you not care about that at this point?
I'm pretty sure that he's, I think I probably intimidated him for at least 1 round.
No, yeah.
Besides,
okay, so
he doesn't know if I'm there or not. So
okay. Let's see. What is the target on phasing your hand through a pair of pants to grab the person's underwear? Well, it seems to be the theme tonight. Let's call it a 4.
Okay.
And roll it as for damage purposes. We'll do it as an unarmed attack.
Okay.
Directly to his junk.
I would say that being invisible would get me at least 1 asset, if not 2.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Yes. He does not. He doesn't see it coming, and he wouldn't know wouldn't be able to process what is happening anyway if he saw it.
Yep. Okay, so is that 1 or 2 essence?
Let's make it 2.
Excellent.
Because this is fun.
Yeah. Okay, so base difficulty you said was a 4. And yeah, I'll put in 1 level of effort because with the might that'll bring it. That will still be all 3. Boom.
All right. Let's see. And your base damage is 2 for unarmed.
Well, no, actually, hold on. 2. Where is it? From the shadows. If you successfully attack a creature that was previously unaware of your presence, you deal 3 additional points of damage. And there was another one. Yes. If attacking from a hidden vantage with surprise or before your opponent has acted, you get an asset on the attack. On a successful hit, you inflict 2 additional points of damage. So that's 7.
Okay.
Actually,
Jesus.
8 because
That's
of
one
17.
hell of a wedgie.
Yeah. 17 adds 1 to damage.
So, Neva, you are upstairs
Yes.
going through a dresser where you seem to have had some pay dirt because this seems to be where they have put all of the things that belong to the girls. And so there's a whole bunch of, there's like a wad of cash and some electronics and jewelry in there. And then you hear this horrifying scream. You can't even, it's unlike anything you have ever heard, followed by a loud pop and a ripping noise as this person's underwear gets pulled so hard that it crushes his junk, breaks his hip, and then the underwear finally loses its structural integrity, such that Crash is now standing there holding the front panel of a pair of tidy whities.
Okay. So I as I'm like emptying pretty much everything I'm finding into my backpack and my pockets, because I do wear the great coat of holding. I just go on comms going, "Are you children having fun down there?"
Yes.
We are.
Okay.
Yes.
Our
Just teach
hosts aren't.
Teach
That's
you some
all that
bad guys a
matters.
lesson.
So the 2 gangsters who are in the cage are, fairly incapacitated because, well, they just got shoved through a steel grating and they're trying to disentangle themselves from each other. And plus any, injuries that they have sustained and the crushing impact on that and each other. The one is, his seizure is coming to an end. And the first individual attacked, of course, is still on the ground, very happy that he still has junk after what just happened to his comrade next to him, which was horrible, bloody, loud, and the man's alive, but really, will he want to continue living after what just happened to him? The 5 ladies in the cage and the one outside are staring at you in a look of silent horror and awe at the same time, wondering if you are going to do something equally bad to them as these people are planning on doing to them.
In all fairness, Crash gets that look a lot.
So I go over to them and get myself between them, and even though they are in various states of incapacitation, and do the, not my back to them, kind of a 3/4, and basically I stand, wide-legged, arms in front, fuck with me, and like, okay, who speaks good enough Russian to be able to explain to them that we're here to actually rescue them?
I guess that's me. Hey, Ice, did you find passports?
Oh, the stuff for the new people was very easy to find. It's in a pile on the dining room table. So it's just a pile of purses, shoes, and phones.
Yeah, I've got the girls' belongings.
Okay.
I'm looking now for money and weaponry that we can, the whole reason why we came to this place.
Well,
Yeah.
we came here to get information, but do you mind bringing the lady's belongings downstairs?
Sure, be down in just a second.
Okay.
I gather up everything and like carrying it in my backpack and in my arms. I come clumping down the stairs. Take a
So,
look around, look at the guy whose nads are now mincemeat, and go, damn.
so, as I'm talking, I just sort of casually boot the guy who was doing the electric boogaloo in the head, pull out one of the industrial zip ties, and go over to the guy who still has his pants around the ankle and cinch it around his junk and say, "So, looks like it's a piss dick here, eh? What were you?
Don't kill me, man.
Oh, I'm not going to kill you. The question is whether or not and I'm speaking in Russian, these fine ladies have their way with you."
He looks up, kind of terrified. As
So-
he, inspects the other implements of destruction around the room. There's some, pipes and knives and other things around. That could be easily used to turn a person into a pile of pate or something with that ilk.
Curiously
Okay, so-
enough, all the girls are suddenly armed.
Ice, did you?
Oh yeah, they're not stupid.
Did you come down with the passports?
Yeah, I came down with all of their stuff.
Okay, so I
It's in
take
my
the
arms.
I take the passports for this group, and I start humming. They had it coming from Chicago as I'm opening up passports and handing them out, to each of the girls. And no, I'm not gonna actually try to sing it for you, but
Right.
yeah.
So, I'm guessing, ladies, that these D-bills told you a few things about this country that, probably aren't true. You're certainly free to go. However, if you want to stick around for some light entertainment or payback, we're not going to stop you.
Catching
And
the gist of what Jack is saying, because I do speak Yiddish, which there's enough similarity.
Yeah.
So I reach into my pocket, pull out my switchblade, and start doing the dance with it. And kind of pointing to the guys and doing the little dancey thing to make it clear to the girls even more.
So I give the zip tie a nice tug.
I tell you whatever you want. Just let me go. Fuck the other guys. I don't care about them. Just let me out of here. I will tell you anything.
Well, start talking.
What do you want? We bring people in, we process them, and then we send them out to work.
Okay.
Money.
I'm sorry, send them what?
Where's the money?
You send them out to work. Who's the paymaster? Who collects?
Oh. They'll kill me if they find out that I said anything.
I am at this point stepping on his nuts. Not hard, not enough to do damage, just enough to,
Enough.
Yeah.
And they're already pulled taut because I've got the zip ties looped around them,
and I say now loud enough for the group to hear. Someone hasn't been thinking about what he's done.
So I'd worry a lot less about if they'll kill you, and more about, and I point to the ladies, if they'll kill you.
Okay. See here. Oh God. So I'm looking at my old notes and just ran into this mime is on fire. Forgot about that. Ooh.
Because I'm in a mood, I look to Jack and go, since I don't have one, painful would you suspect frostbite is to the male member?
Very.
And my hand starts to glow blue.
Okay. It's at a jewelry store right over in Ditmar Steinway. It's not far. I can tell you exactly where it is. Although they've said they've stepped up their security a bit ever since the mime attack, but well, that's where all the money goes through.
How recent of a mime attack?
Oh, it's just a few months ago.
Interesting.
Oh, and while you're there, you can. I'll give you a good hint about the neighborhood. You can stop by the coffee shop across the street. Has the best coffee in the city.
Does it have? So, ladies, what would you like to do?
They look at each other. Well, I, for one, have always wanted to come to America, but I certainly would not, under no circumstances, hesitate from beating the snot out of these guys before I go.
So when she says that, I grab something, a nice blunt something. There's gotta be like an old chair leg or something, and I hand it to her with a smile, and I go back to hauling. He had it coming. Quietly under my breath.
So are you guys going to stick around and watch what happens to these fine individuals, or are you just going to head out?
I want to
Nice.
finish rummaging. 'Cause I haven't found all the weapons and the money that's in the house yet.
Okay, so you go back upstairs and you go, proceed through the other bedroom you haven't been in yet. Like, ooh, box of bullets. All right.
Basically, I take anything that looks like it could potentially be pawned, sold, or what have you, and grow.
Shiny.
Shiny.
Basically.
All right. So, since I promised him that he'd live, is fair game.
Okay.
And the other 4, my gift to you. Welcome to America.
Oh, and we should probably, give
Some walking around money.
Yeah, but I'm thinking though, since they don't, they've got their passports, we have to make sure that we should probably make sure that they have some sort of
Precious.
or something to make sure that to basically make it look like they are here legally.
Yeah.
If only there was some sort of agency you could work with that deals with the aftermath of superhero activities.
I pull out my tablet and just shoot a quick message to the cleanup crew.
While
as
I'm
we're driving away.
While I'm texting Ray, just saying, "Hey, do you know a good immigration lawyer that works for STEM?"
We'll explain later.
And the best part, because he knows such things, he's like, oh, well, you probably just want to call blah, 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 and they'll send some folks over immediately. Pause.
Yep.
What are you guys doing?
Sorry, you're breaking up. Click. So I write down the information. And I don't know who wants to call it in, or if we just give it to the ladies and dip.
We should,
So-
we should probably call it in and let them know that we are making arrangements for them.
Okay. So we do that.
As you are walking out the front door, some of you more blood-soaked than others from the recent events, especially Pa, because she hits very, very hard.
Oops.
One of the STEM panel trucks pulls up in front, and the crew starts coming out. And like, hey guys, how's it going?
Hey,
And from the inside of the house, you hear horrible screams going on as the gentlemen in there are getting beaten into pulp and or stabbed by a bunch of, turns out to be much tougher than they look, women from the Russian Federation. So
we're gonna need don't mind the screaming. Just some ladies working out some trauma therapy. They will need some immigration help. The sex traffickers, do the STEM thing. No, and do you have any wet wipes? Thank you.
One of the guys just hands over a box. And then, of course, the leader of it reaches out, pulls out his clipboard. All right, guys, let's go do this. And then walk into the house.
Crash is at this point, so first of all, he's visible again. He is literally strolling down the front walk, hands in his pockets, and whistling.
A couple of the neighbors are poking their heads out, wondering what's going on. Because now there's a whole pile of people in the front yard.
Really, really messy sewer drain backup. It's pretty awful in there. I wouldn't stick around.
I mean, obviously, the toilet erupted all over her. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
so many hit the head jokes to be made.
Okay, so you get back into the van and you head down a couple avenues back towards your main stopping grounds. I'm trying to remember the name of the jewelry store.
Oh yeah,
Rico's or
that sounds right. If not, it's Rico's now.
It is now, yeah.
It's under new management.
So you pull right up in front of it because you know this place. You see them every day.
Do we know of anyone there do we know of anyone in there as Russian?
You're not sure. You don't really know the people who work there a whole lot because you generally don't go, shopping for really, cheap jewelry. Because the mimes weren't that smart. They didn't knock over a good jewelry store. Of course not.
No, of course not. Hey, Ice,
Yeah.
was there any jewelry in your
You're
collection?
thinking what are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
I go try and pawn the jewelry I just stole from these assholes back to these assholes so we can get an idea of what's going on in there.
Yep.
Okay. So you go in.
Bingo.
Standard jewelry stores, they have cases everywhere and stuff. One person walks over, how can I help you? And so you reach into your pocket, just pull out this wad of jewelry, poof, drop it onto the counter.
How much?
I assume you got this by legitimate means, right?
Yeah, I inherited it from my Nona. I got college tuition to pay.
You may feel free to make that assumption.
So while the person's going through and trying to evaluate all of these, another person walks into the store looking, just slightly sketchy, wearing a it turns out, a jumpsuit with the nice stripes on the sides of it. Leans forward and says, I would like to make a payment on my wedding ring. And the other clerk says, oh, certainly. And person pulls out of his jumpsuit a standard-looking brown paper envelope that seems pretty well stuffed with something, hands it to the other guy. The person looks it, opens it up, that's it. Okay, thank you very much. We will record it. And then turns around and walks into the back with the envelope. Money, and the person in the tracksuit heads out the front door.
Oh no, he doesn't.
I mentioned, I sub-vocalized out, guy coming out, target.
So, okay, so you're inside by yourself, right, Ice?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to suggest that like the other three of us just stand at the door, arms crossed, doing the Super Friends pose. You're really stupid, aren't you?
The guy looks up. I don't know what you. Oh shit! It's the heroes.
Yeah.
Yep. And in case your English isn't that good, he called you a debil.
Well, I
He
mean,
does what
we are at a
any,
jewelry store. Calling someone De Beers wouldn't be out of line.
Well, no, debil. It's idiot in a lot of Slavic languages.
So like any good gangster, he assumes that he'll be able to take you guys on and pulls out a knife.
I would like to have come up behind him, and I would like to cast stasis on him so he can't move.
All right. He too will be a target for.
Okay.
With you'll get 2 assets because he doesn't know you're there, and right now he's dealing with the situation in front of him.
Awesome. I'm gonna throw in a couple levels of effort. And just keeps him from moving or acting.
So
Oh.
you can hit the coins to get your points back. That's beautiful. That's just pretty
Nice.
The
Anyone have a
question then is-
suggestion for the major effect? I don't know what to ask for.
I would say that I would say 2 assets on interrogating him. What do you think, Patrick?
If he's the one you want to interrogate, otherwise you might just want to rob this joint.
That's true, yeah.
How about I caught him mid-motion and he just went splat.
There you go.
Face first, broke his nose.
Actually,
I like
how's
it.
this? Given how well you rolled and how utterly inconsequential this individual is, you hit him with your ice power, and unfortunately you overdo it. So the 3 others are standing there. The guy pulls out a knife. He shimmers into that nice blue kind of color, leans forward, and shatters on the sidewalk.
Oops.
Okay, I'm not the only one who oops tonight. That makes me feel better.
The people inside of the jewelry store are thoroughly horrified at the moment as they just watched one of their typical colleagues shatter in front of them into a pile of frozen mush.
So, what did this guy do?
He just paid for one of the girls.
He's the bagman.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I turn back around and walk back up to the counter and say, I would like what he gave you in exchange for this. And I put on my simply sweet goth smile. The Wednesday trying to make a smile that freaked out all the little Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
Smile. Now.
Okay. Yeah. They go into the back room. You hear some rustling and stuff. They come back out with a bag, drop it onto the table. Just don't kill us, man.
If they
Does it appear to be like they have altered how much is in that bag?
Actually, they seem to have grabbed a bunch of the envelopes and dropped them into a bag and handed it to you.
This seems a little light.
I think we have some more in the back if you want.
Yes.
That's all right. I'll check. Yeah, you hear this from the door, from the back door. Got it.
Thank
Is
you.
is there a ledger back there too?
Oh yes.
Allegedly. Yeah.
They,
Okay, so I leave Crash to empty the safe or whatever's back there.
Yeah.
And I lean forward and, using my lack of social interaction, inform him that he would really benefit from changing occupations.
okay. Yeah. Like, I'm getting the fuck out of here is what I'm going to do. How's that sound?
Pass the word along to your friends too.
Okay. Got it. I don't want to fight you guys. Just
Thank you.
You actually hear a call from the back. Also, setting up shop right across the street from a known hero hangout, probably not your brightest move.
you guys don't wear your uniforms over there. We don't know like.
It's still a known hangout.
Your loss.
You guys are idiots. Go back.
He's
to
just counting
school.
himself lucky that it wasn't Statesman who already would have punched him into a pile of goo.
Yep.
But
take my advice. Go back to school and get a real job.
In a different state, really, because you
May I
lost.
suggest AXA or whatever the hell Europe is now. And with that, I casually turn, walk over, stomping on the icy bits of the guy who is shattered, shattering it more.
Oh God. Crunch.
Exactly. What are stompy boots for? And walk out of the jewelry store.
Do you collect the pile of jewelry that you had dropped off onto the table as you go?
Yes.
Because shiny. Especially with those jewelry store lights above. Makes it shimmer really nice.
Exactly.
Back into the pocket it came from.
Bookstar, it's college right now.
Can we say that I have finished up my rounds in the back and come out as that's happening?
Yes.
Oh. Ice, I think you did just such a good job. Pick yourself up something nice.
I look down. I pick up a watch.
I was assuming everything was in the glass cases.
Yeah, well, I just pick a watch.
Like the cases are going to stop anybody who has a few shifts.
Yeah.
I reach through the case, get the watch, bring it up, toss it to Ice.
So
then I look back and I smash the glass.
Hello, Mr. Nimbus.
So what's the take?
I'd say we got a good 100.
Yeah, there's at least like $100,000 in there. That's a serious amount of cash that you've just come into,
got enough,
along
to
with
get
some
you
jewelry and
your,
other things.
We got enough to get you a pretty toy, Jack.
Or two.
I mean, I wasn't worried about the toy thing. I was more of, do we have to escalate up the food chain or not?
It's probably still a drop in the bucket for these guys.
Okay.
But we have seriously inconvenienced them.
So we'll stick a pin in it. Just make a copy of the ledger and then toss it back to Crash and be like, hey, do you want to throw your cop friend a bone?
while since he's owed me a favor.
All right, so now you have, amongst other things, the 10 grand that you need. Like, you're standing out in the street just counting out the 10 grand from the, like, okay, I need another envelope.
I wouldn't.
While
do
this
like,
person's
Not
body
in
is
the
slowly
street.
melting.
We'll be doing that in the car, in the van.
Well, who's going to stop you in the middle of the street? I mean,
What do you think we are,
Our
criminals?
statesman's gonna show up.
Well, it's
You
not
know.
just statesmen. It's Crash's fucking journalist pest. You know, like that's gonna look good.
Yep.
Heroes rob Julie's store. As we're counting out
The
cash.
phrase is morally gray.
Not morally stupid. Come on. Are we the baddies?
No.
We are convenience, whatever is.
It's okay to be the baddies as long as they're the worsies.
Yes.
Mm. Good old gray and black morality. Gotta love it.
that's
Yes.
right.
You know, we pick up where law enforcement leaves off.
You know, your choices are either you send them to the hospital or you duct tape them to a nearby light pole with a note on them. I mean, it's up to you. You can handle things either way.
I think it's the classics. Duct tape them to.
Yep. Option B it is.
When in doubt, duck it.
Or shatter them.
Okay. So you hop back into the van and then head off towards Dimitri's Weapons Emporium, which once again is not terribly far away because, everything happens in your neighborhood.
I'll meet you there, and I zip over to Emerson's office, to the precinct.
Okay, so you get to the precinct, and Emerson's there doing his usual thing, yelling at all of his cops for not doing their job correctly. As any proper sergeant should. They're like, oh, what brings you here?
Thought I'd do you a favor. In our vigilante activities, shall we say, came upon this. And I toss him the ledger.
He looks at it like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, this is good. And I might get a promotion out of this. Thank you.
If you do, then you owe me 2.
Ignore everything that I've said about you. Well, no, I mean all that still. But
Nice to see we understand each other, Captain. And I go invisible before I leave the office because he doesn't know I can do that now.
He doesn't need to know that you can do that.
That's
Hey, Charlie.
all right. So y'all pull up in front of the sporting goods place / strange warehouse. Take the elevator down into the basement to go deal with Dimitri. And down there on the counter, he has the weapon laid out as he's kept it as promised, which is probably good for his health. Go through all this, and then if he just sold it out from under you, that would be something I'd want to do, but I'm not that much of a jerk tonight. So you have the agreed upon amount.
Toss him an envelope.
Oh, and the two of you who who weren't here last time, because you were out dealing with the crazy woman and her cat. This is if you remember that one scene from The Matrix where they have to pick out a weapon, so it's just like all these just racks and racks of weapons. That's basically what the basement of this place is like. It's just wall to wall racks of every type of weapon that you can imagine. Like here's like this wall over here is just all pistols, and over there we have high caliber rifles, and over here we have folding knives, anything that somebody could want to use to hurt other people with something that has to be manufactured somewhere and sold to you.
Meanwhile, Crash is wondering, These aren't the racks I want. I want the racks from the tailor shop in Kingsman.
Yeah.
That's a higher class joint.
Right.
It's probably it's probably in Manhattan somewhere.
Yeah, that's a different
I go along,
joint at all.
Damn Manhattan.
looking at everything, and I take up a couple things of handcuffs and a new switchblade and a couple others, and I just kind of walk over and I plunk them down on the counter next to Jack's with a smile.
Jack's weapon looks fairly impressive. It's currently unfolded to its full might, and you have actually seen these things before from the surviving photographs of when New York City was destroyed during the rock incident. This is what a bunch of the demon creatures were porting around and shooting people with, amongst other things. It's a fairly impressive looking device.
I kind of look over and go, "Pretty."
Yeah, has a certain deadly elegance to it.
All
I'll
right.
take these and a couple things of pepper spray, by the way.
Okay. Do you want the large canister of pepper spray, the pepper foam, or the pocket-sized one?
Yes.
It reaches over. Big, big, big.
I sigh, toss another bundle at him.
He does this interesting thing, is that he counts out the correct amount of cash and hands it back. Hands the rest back. Because he's, a good businessman who deals with psychotics all the time and does not want to get murdered for, stealing an extra amount of money from them. He doesn't work in a tip business. He just, sells stuff. And he doesn't have to charge tax.
At a reasonable markup.
Yep, exactly. So once he collects it, then he takes the thing, folds one thing, twists another thing. It folds up to about the size of a sawed-off shotgun. Hands it over to you. Says, remember with this one, all sales final.
Right.
I'm
Caveat
picking up all the
emptor.
stuff and putting them in pockets and kind of give a little bounce as I turn around and start heading back out the door. It's been a good day.
Yeah.
Pleasure doing business with you, Dimitri.
Always tell your friends.
That's Vidania.
I'm not sure he wants us telling our friends.
I know Calamity at some point might need some bullets.
That's true. Yeah.
To say it depends on which friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's always a distinct possibility some of your other friends already come here for things.
That's also true.
Right. Bulk discount on 45 ACP,
Referral bonus. Yeah.
So as we're walking back to the van, I turn to Jack and go, so we tell Gene we just came across a garage sale, right? We went
What?
flea marketing.
Yeah, we busted up a sex trafficking ring. One of them. And, there was a fence right across the street. Masquerading as a jewelry store.
And of course, as you are driving back, you pass by, in front of the, because it's just around the corner from you guys, you pass by the jewelry store, you look at it, and, the frozen mess is now thawed out pretty well, and it's just seeping everywhere, and there's a STEM crew there cleaning it up as best they can with mops. And then you look over at the coffee shop, and you see this slight problem with your plan. Calamity is still working there, in spite of the fact that her boyfriend is in Washington, and just looks at you guys as you drive by and waves, because she just saw everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you get back, and you now have a interesting device, the stats of which I will provide for you later in the week, because I have to make a couple decisions on how this artifact operates.
Sure thing.
So we've discussed it. We have a couple possibilities. I'm trying to figure out which one's going to be the weirdest / coolest thing to do with it.
Excellent.
But it is definitely much nicer than your other collection of weapons that you carry on you all the time as well. Because, you know, if you're going to be an international gun for hire, you have to have guns.
Yep.
This is just one of those things. So you get back in, back down to your into your conference room, where, you know, once again you tend to do all of your work. Have a nice break. Just look at stuff, and that thing is still just pulling at the back of Crash's mind. That little safe side of a trailer, just sitting on the edge of Riker's Island, just waiting to be plucked. Why would he put that there? And as Jack has brought up in the past, why would he want to get paid in metal bars as a guy who could probably locate an asteroid made of the stuff and just bring the whole thing? If anybody could get their hands on a lot of things like iridium, it would be him. So it's sitting there just taunting you the entire time, wondering why. Just grab it. It's right there.
It is.
There's
It's
answers.
right there.
It's gonna bother you for a while.
Yep.
And with that, I think that's a good end for tonight's episode.
Yep. All right.
The cat's away.
Hmm?
Apparently, the mice are going to beat up a whole bunch of Russian mobsters and turn a couple of them into goo.
Yep. I mean, at least they were
Commit
bad
war.
guys.
Yep. Commit war crimes while the cat's away.
That was issue 26 of the Powers That Be. Again, this one was very, very aptly named "When the Cat's Away." We're just gonna not tell Gene about this.
Nope.
We can let him think that Calamity is trying to get the rest of us in trouble for something. Anyway, we are going to take a quick break, come back to our after show. If you feel free to that'll be up on YouTube probably tomorrow evening. But, if you like what we're doing here, if you just want to know that we're not, just screaming into the void here, leave us a comment, do something, let us know you're out here, let us know what you'd like to see. But in the meantime, for Patrick, Kat, Matt, Julie, and Ray in absentia, I am Trevor, the Vitruvian Meeple. Good night, everybody.